Okay, welcome back everyone. So I've got some tanks here and they're on a new rack. I just set them up. They've literally just been filled up a couple of days ago. The water is up to temperature. They're all sitting around somewhere between 27 and 24 degrees Celsius, so perfect for some fish. And I really want to put fish in here straight away, but as you guys know, you can't do that when you set up a new aquarium. The reason why is because there's a bacteria cycle that has to happen first before you can put your fish in. Now, the bacteria cycle is something that's crucial and maybe not even talked about enough. So basically, when you have fish in an aquarium, the fish are going to poo, and that poo causes ammonia. Now, the ammonia is what will kill your fish. So unless that poo is able to be broken down into other things, it is going to be a problem. And you can't just get rid of the poo because that's just a natural part of life, and the fish are going to do that no matter what. So what most people do is they wait 2 to 3 weeks for the bacteria to kind of cycle and kind of form in their aquariums while they wait to put their first fish in there. Now, this to me is overboard and totally boring if you want to start your first aquarium straight away. So what I do is a couple of things. So the first thing I like to do with these aquariums here, I've just set them up. This one doesn't even have an aquarium scape in it yet. This one does kind of over here with some slate, but I want to put fish in them. So what I do to start the bacteria is a little bit crazy and a little bit weird, maybe even a bit gross for some people, but it does an amazing job. Run, 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 run. Ooh, water dripping everywhere. Okay, so this sponge filter here has been in a tank that's been set up for a long time, and it's fully established, a fully matured aquarium. And I just took the sponge off the sponge filter, and this is full of good bacteria. The bacteria that you need to break down your fish's poo. What you do to quick start your aquarium, super simple, is get your old sponge filter and squeeze out all that filter juice into your new aquarium. Not only does this clean out your sponge filter from your other aquarium and gives it a nice clean, but it also quick starts your aquarium by adding the bacteria needed to support your little ecosystem and to support your fish. So you're going to squeeze out all of that juice in and around the aquarium like that, and that is as good as any bacteria start, or even as good as waiting 3 weeks. That right there has quick started your aquarium. Now you can see how dirty it is. It looks quite disgusting and might not smell the best either, but that is the way to quick start your tank. It's so simple, and I didn't learn this myself. I actually got this from my mate Nick from Keeping Fish Simple in Brisbane. He does this all the time, and he does this when he first sets up a tank. It's one of the best ways to do it. I had no idea that that crappy looking water that comes out of this filter was even useful. So now you're going to have to wait a little while still to put your fish in there, but not 3 weeks, because it's all dirty. You could technically add fish straight away, but it wouldn't be good. It would be quite stressful for them and may even be harmful. So I would wait for your tank to get all nice and clear again. Won't take very long. Where I am at the moment, it's night time, and maybe by the next morning, so tomorrow morning, this should be all clear, and then you'd be able to add fish. So this is the first and best method to start your tank. All you have to do is squeeze old filter juice into your new tank. So if you don't have a tank that's been matured and had fish in it for quite a while, maybe go over to a mate's place and see if you can borrow his filter juice and squeeze it in your tank, and meanwhile cleaning out his filter. It doesn't have to be a sponge filter. You can use canister filters, hang on the back filters, internal filters, any filter with a sponge in it. Squeeze that out in your new tank, and that will be hugely beneficial to your new aquarium. Now, second method. Now the second method is obviously not as good as the first method, but it still works if you absolutely cannot get access to the sponge filter juice, which I highly recommend doing it that way if at all possible. But if you absolutely can't for some weird reason, This is the second method, and this is for you. And that is adding some cheap fish. That's right, you're going to be adding fish to your new tank. Make sure that the temperature and pH is suitable for your new fish, and it's not completely off the charts retarded, cold or super hot or something. So these tanks are sitting, I think this tank's sitting around 24, I just checked it before, and this tank with the heater is sitting around 27. So both of them perfect for fish. Now what I'm going to be doing is adding a couple of fish to each tank. Now these are quite large tanks, so if you've got a really small tank, you might only want to add one fish. The reason I'm adding fish is because not only is it fun and it gets your tank started, it actually kind of quick starts your bacteria cycle. When you're picking a species to add to your tank, it might not be the initial species that you're going to have in there forever. It's just going to be a fish to start off your ecosystem and start off that bacteria cycle for you. So I tend to go with the cheapest fish, so that if they die, nothing happens, you know, a couple of dollars. And fish that, you know, are pretty hardy. So, you know, things like mollies, swordtails, they're quite good for quick starting your tank. I find they're bulletproof and don't usually die when you put them in your new tank. They should be fine. I wouldn't do things like bristlenoses or guppies. I know guppies are one of those first fish that you get, but they are quite finicky at times and easy to kill, I find. We're going to be putting some swordtails because I've been breeding up a heap of swordtails in this fish room recently, and I think are the perfect candidate for putting in these new tanks. Now, they're not going to be the fish that are going to be in here forever, as I said, just for a few weeks to get the tank started. And what they're going to do to start up the bacteria cycle is they're going to be pooing in here. Now you might be wondering, hang on, that just totally goes against what you were saying before, and it kind of does, but it also doesn't, because when the fish poos, it instantly adds something to the water for the bacteria to, you know, be going, hang on, this water is going to go crazy full of ammonia, now we need to fix this. So it's going to kind of kickstart the bacteria into farming up and being able to break down that fish poo. So that's a great way to get your tank started, is putting in a couple of cheap fish in your tank for a couple of weeks and slowly adding more fish. Now you might also be wondering, hang on, the original way of quick starting or just starting your aquarium is to let it sit for a few weeks. But in my opinion, I'd way rather an aquarium sit with a couple of fish in it for a few weeks than no fish at all. So that's a method, that's the second method. Now the third method is a little bit more tricky, and it's not a method I use very often, but in only a very few select circumstances. And that is completely filling your new aquarium with old aquarium water. So that bacteria that breaks down your fish's poo is going to be in the water body of a matured aquarium. It's going to be floating around, there's going to be particles of it in small amounts, but enough to support a small ecosystem and a few fish, which is what you want when you start your first tank. So in some circumstances, especially when I've changed aquariums but not changed the stock or anything in them, I've literally just drained the aquarium into another aquarium, put all the filters and stuff back on it, and just added the fish back in. They're being completely fine. You've just moved the body into another aquarium. So that's another method. Again, most people are not going to be doing this, but it is a little tip if you wanted to move your tank, say a smaller tank into a larger tank, and then adding a bit more water, it'll be more like a water change. But they're the three methods. Now, the fourth method, which is not a method I would, you know, point anyone in that direction at all, is Quick Start. Now, Quick Start is a product that is made for new aquariums and has supposedly got good bacteria in it. But I've never actually found it to be any more useful than the sponge filter method. You just go into your old tank, get a sponge filter, squeeze it out, and it's done in 2 seconds, rather than paying $16 for a bottle of something that, you know, you could just be doing for free. So Quick Start, in my opinion, is a little bit of a scam when you could do it 10 other ways and way cheaper. So I guess you can go buy Quick Start if money's not an issue and you don't mind buying a product and all that kind of thing. But in my opinion, this does it 10 times better than Quick Start will do. So it's a better result in the end, saves you money. Anyway guys, I hope that helped you guys a little bit. with starting a new tank, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.